The Lord my banner. When I crafted this story, I actually took 3 stories and put them together, things that all happened about the same time. You have the story where Moses hits the rock and water comes from the rock. You have the battle with the Amalekites where Joshua goes out and fights them. And finally, you have Jethro coming to Moses, bringing him his wife and sons, and then gives him advice. So let's deal with each of these briefly. First of all, you have the story about the rock. I like to point out the fact that I personally believe that it was the Egyptians in the group that was starting the complaining. I imagine that back in Egypt, where they were watching the plagues, and they said, "Wow, the God of the Israelites is so much powerful than the gods of the Egyptians. Let's follow Moses. Life will be good." Only to get out here in the desert and find out that this great, powerful God is not taking care of them nearly as well as they thought he should. They didn't have the comforts of back home, and they wanted to go back, and they complained. Well, the Israelites grumble enough on their own, but I think it all kind of starts right here. Then you have the area, while they're in this area right here, Moses keeps naming the places where they're going, and historians are looking around the Sinai Peninsula saying, we have no indications that these places exist. Well, they're looking at the wrong place. They need to be looking down in Saudi Arabia and in this area here where the mountain of God is at. And I think it's a little clearer. But more important, these were names of watering holes and oases and places that Moses knew because this is his area. He spent 40 years being a shepherd. He traveled all of this area. He knew. In fact, when God says, go to a rock, he didn't just say that rock over there. He names the rock, knowing that Moses would know exactly where that was at. We have next the story about the Amalekites and how they came and Joshua did battle with them. A little bit about them, they were descendants of Esau. So in a sense, they were Edomites. But the Edomites, they were already a pretty bad tribe, and this is like the worst of the worst. These people were like guerrilla terrorists. Their whole culture lived to plunder and to kill and to enslave people and to sell people, women and children. They were a bad group of people, and they didn't just attack Israel with 2 million people. No. They swept in and they were picking off the stragglers, the women and the children that were lagging behind. That's what they wanted. They wanted these slaves. And so finally Moses stops and said, okay, we're going into battle with these people. Years later, Samuel says, we were instructed by Moses that we were to go in and to kill these people. So he sends Saul to take care of that. Well, that goes back to this story right here. This is the story that Moses said, the day will come when you get in the land and you'll settle in. And when you set up your kingdoms there, then take care of these people. Don't forget what they did to us. And that was given to King Saul to do. And of course, he didn't do it. Moses said, they will be an enemy of yours from generation to generation. It was true. You have the story of that right here. But later on, when you have Moses sending in the 12 spies, and 10 of them come back and saying, we just can't take the land. And God said, okay, you're not going in. You're going back out in the wilderness. And so a group of them said, oh, no, we will go in. And they and they organize their own army and they go into the land. The Amalekites saw stragglers again, saw their opportunity. They joined in with some of the Canaanite cities and they attacked. And again, it was the Amalekites that were given a hard time. During the time of the judges, they joined in with with the Edomites and with the Moabites and the various Canaanite tribes to enslave Israel. And again, they're constantly there to attack Israel any way that they can. During the time of King Saul, he was told to go in and to destroy them. He didn't do it. And so later on, you have when David is in Ziklag and he takes his army out on a campaign, the Amalekites came in, burnt the city, took all the women and the children and take them away to sell them as slaves. And on down through the years till finally you get to Esther. In the story of Esther, you have Haman, who was an Amalekite, who tried to destroy all the Jewish people. There is some research that's been done that shows that King Herod the Great was an Amalekite. I'm not sure if I quite hold to that, but it's an interesting study. We have, as I mentioned, Joshua. This is the first time that he is mentioned in Scripture. But also you have her. You have Aaron and her who hold up the arms of Moses. Who's her? Well, Jewish tradition says that he is Moses' brother-in-law, the husband of Miriam. We do know that her grandson was the one who led up the building of the tabernacle. God tells Moses to write these things down. Now, I believe that this story right here is the beginning of Moses writing the 5 books of Moses. And then finally you have Jethro, who comes bringing Zipporah and the 2 sons of Moses back to him and then giving him advice on how he should judge the people. What a wonderful story that is. Come back when we give you more insights on the story.